All right, we should be good. We should be back in the building. Y'all know what to do. We're up in here looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE, at patreon.com/ClassEbeats. The link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. I'm glad to see y'all here. We are getting into day 23. Wow. Can y'all believe we've been covering this trial for almost 5 weeks? It's insane. But looking forward to see what goes down today. As you know, we're going to have Dr. Welsher back in here. We actually didn't finish up what happened yesterday. They had a voir dire at the end of court yesterday afternoon, so we'll probably cover some of that later on today, but I know y'all want to get into the live coverage. Before we get started, I gotta say what's up to the people in the building though. I see y'all in here. Shout out to the gang in the building. We've got my awesome, amazing Amy is in here first thing. Les Cleaver, my guy Jay Buckmaster back at it. A-Fits, Lady E, Taco Tuesday is in here. Julie, Kara Hampton is in the building as well. Libby 22 SC Girl, B-Dubs is in here as well. And shout out to Tay-Toon in the building. Good to see everyone in here. Hopefully y'all are doing well on this Thursday morning. All right, we're gonna get into it shortly, but before I do, y'all know, and shout out to Unique, I have to beg y'all to please like the video on your way in. Not only is it free, not only does it help the channel continue to grow, but it takes less than a second and it lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show, shares the video and the channel out with more people. And y'all have been a large part of all the growth that we've seen here on the channel. We made it to 114,000 subscribers here just because of y'all been sharing out the video, liking the video. So if you could take a second to do that, I appreciate it. I will be continuing to beg for likes until I'm off of YouTube. All right, it's very, very important. So thank you to all 300 plus of you that have liked the video so far as well. Also, I will be reading super chats as we go throughout the show. So thank you to everybody who sends in super chats. Let me go ahead and get to our first super chats of the day. We've got my guy Les Cleaver in the building. Shout out to Les with the 5 bomb. He says, thank God it's Friday. It's Friday Eve. And as Kara would say, on purpose. Yep. And my beauty tax paid for all the ladies in the chat family. Okay. God bless you all. God bless you, Les. Hope you have a great day at work. And thank you for always stopping by and supporting, man. I appreciate it. We've got Kara Hampton in here. You know what time it is with the 5 bomb. She says it's Thursday, half day of court, but make your whole day great on purpose. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. She says, thank you to our handsome host and the amazing Amy. Thank you, Kara. She also gifted 5 memberships. So if you got a membership from Kara, please make sure you say thank you. And make sure you go over and check out the members only content side. Y'all got some emojis in the chat that you can use as well as a bunch of other bonuses. So thank y'all for being here. Butterfly Lover is in the building. We've got Nancy is in here. Good morning. Good to see y'all. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen and noticed what's going on in the chat. And there are these little purple crowns that you can see. Well, it looks like YouTube allowed us to test out a new feature that they have, and it's called the community leaderboard. So what the community leaderboard is, it shows basically the most active members of the community for each particular live stream. And I'm going to read this to y'all and see what it says. So we've got the community leaderboard plus XP. So what do those purple crowns mean next to your name? A place for fans to stand out in the community. All right. So the top 3 get special badges in the live chat. It resets every live stream, so you can always try again. So I'm sure you guys want to know how does it work? Basically, you need to collect experience points or XP. Here's how you do it. You can do it by live chatting. I know you guys are always active in the chat. The second way you can do it is you can send super chats. And the third way is by sending super stickers. So I will be keeping track of everyone who's active and who's on the leaderboard, and I'll be announcing it at the end of each live stream. And then I'm going to find something fun and special to do for you guys, because y'all continuously show up, continue to show love. And maybe I'll make a community post about it and highlight everyone who was active during that live stream. But super dope either way. All right. A couple more super chats, and then I'm going to let y'all get into the coverage, because I know y'all are ready to get started and tired of hearing me talking. Shout out to CPE in the building. Just to make it clear, CPE says, I don't pay the ClassE handsome tax. Dang, that's tough. But I will pay the beautiful tax to Amy. There you go. Shout out to CPE. That's a good tax. I think everybody should pay that. Shout out to the beautiful tax for the beautiful Amy E. And then, oh, Mosh is liking the community leaderboard too. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Vintage Galleria's in here said Alessi is going off right now. All right, I've done enough talking. Let's go ahead and get into it. Again, make sure y'all like the video if you haven't yet. And some of y'all aren't subscribed too. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. All right, let's get into it. Thank y'all again for the support. Let me find Amy's reminder. And here we go. Oh, side boss.
Now opening may be seated.
All right. Good morning, Council. Good morning, Ms. Reed.
Good morning.
And all right, Mr. Alessi, I will hear you on your argument on the voir dire.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just loading up my computer.
Oh, you know what? We're going to skip this because we didn't listen to the voir dire yesterday. So we're going to skip this. And what I'm going to do is we'll do a rewind a little bit later. Let me see. Is this all voir dire or does he get back into? Yeah. Here we go. So what we're going to do is we'll rewind and go back to that later because we didn't watch the voir dire from yesterday afternoon in the first place. All right. So we'll get to that. We'll watch it probably during lunchtime. Oh, but it's a short day, so we won't have lunchtime. I'll figure it out. Let's go ahead and get into court.
Good morning, members.
We want to see Dr. Welsher get cooked.
We were doing work in here, but we appreciate your patience. So I do have to ask you those 3 questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left yesterday?
No.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left yesterday? No. Everyone said no or sure.
They be lying.
Thank you. Could we have Dr. Welcher back in, please?
Why you always lying? That jury's lying.
Electronics there, so we don't have to do trust.
It doesn't look like it's turned on at
Oh,
all.
okay, good. And smart watches.
That jury's lying. There's Slim Life. Good morning, Slim Life.
Sir, I'll remind you you're still under arrest.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor.
Oh no, where's Officer Token?
And Dr. Welcher, we're going to ask you to not turn on your computer yet.
Okie
Thank you.
And Your Honor, if I could, smart watches that are receiving text messages during his direct, if we can make sure that that does not occur.
I did get my email. What? I'll take all the time.
Okay, or just don't look at your watch.
Oh,
Okay.
were they coaching him during the live stream?
Morning, Dr. Welcher.
Oh my.
Good morning.
Do you know whether there was glass found on the bumper of Miss Reed's Lexus SUV?
My understanding there was, yes.
Did you reach a conclusion on whether the glass on the bumper,
Oh, hold on, I gotta run this.
whether
back.
there was, Dr.
Excuse me, guys.
I'll take all the time.
Okay, or just don't look at your watch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, take your watch off. Stop cheating. All right, here we go. Now we're ready for
Morning,
Dr. Welcher again.
Welcher.
Good morning.
Here we go.
Do you know whether there was glass found on the bumper of Miss Reed's Lexus SUV?
My understanding there was, yes.
Did you reach a conclusion on whether the glass on the bumper came from the drinking glass that you assert Mr. O'Keefe was holding at the time of the alleged impact?
I didn't have an opportunity to inspect the glass, but the glass was broken and there was glass on the bumper. That's all I know.
So you, as you sit here today, you have no basis to conclude that the glass on the bumper came from the glass that you depict as having been held by Mr. O'Keefe at the time of the alleged impact. Is that correct?
Well, you're mixing a couple things.
No, Dr. Welcher,
So can
if
I-
you can just answer my question.
I'm
If
trying
I
to.
need to rephrase it, I will. I'll ask it a different way.
Uh-oh. Getting spicy.
You have no basis as you sit here today to conclude that the glass on the bumper came from a drinking glass connected to Mr. O'Keefe, do you?
Well, we have a picture of a broken glass at the scene. So I wouldn't say we have no basis. We don't necessarily have enough to conclude it's from it, though.
Jeez. You got this, Alessi.
You
Relax.
had depictions in your test with Mr. O'Keefe holding a glass, correct?
Correct.
My question is, you have no evidence to show at all other than, and I'm talking evidence, testing information. You're saying you have no evidence that shows that the glass on the bumper is not the same glass as you showed on your slides as being found supposedly at the scene. You have no test evidence that that's the same glass, do you?
So again, the one I have at my testing obviously was not the same glass. We have pictures of a broken bar glass in the snow near where Mr. O'Keefe's body was. We have glass fragments on the rear of the bumper. That's the extent of my knowledge on the correlation between those two.
So, you said you reviewed the reports and testimonies of various Commonwealth representatives, correct? That's in your report.
Correct. In the initial.
Right, correct.
Unless he's done being nice
some
today.
of those reports included forensic scientists who work for the Massachusetts State Police, correct?
I believe that's correct.
And you put those in your report as documents that you reviewed, correct?
Correct.
And as you sit here today, it's your testimony, you don't know whether in any of the reports of the Massachusetts State Police there is an answer to the question of whether there's any connection at all between the glass found in the snow and the glass on the bumper.
I recall it being inconclusive.
Oh, so you recall that the testing was inconclusive?
I don't remember what testing they did, but for
Of
example,
course
when they
not.
put the taillight fragments back together, they were able to deduce that the fragments were from the taillight. I don't think they attempted to do that with the glass.
You don't know. Oh, boy.
Assume that there has been testing of the glass on the bumper, and assume that that testing conclusively determines that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that was found in the snow.
Okay.
Assume that.
Okay.
How would that affect your analysis?
I'd want to know where the glass came from, but we still have a whole bunch of other elements. So I don't think it would affect the end results.
So, would it have any part in your analysis with my assumption that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that's associated with the broken glass that was supposedly found in the snow?
Yes, I mean, we always want to have as much answers or as many answers as possible. So I would want to know if we could figure out where it came from.
And wouldn't the fact, assuming that the test results show there's no connection, meaning the glass on the bumper is different from the glass in the snow, wouldn't that be contrary to your theory of what happened in some way?
It depends on when the glass was actually broken. The glass was in his hand, at least that's the testimonial evidence I have seen. So it depends on whether it's broken from contact with the rear of the vehicle or broken with contact on the ground.
Assume that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that was found in the snowbank. Doesn't that, at least in part, contradict your hypothesis as to whether there was contact by the Lexus with Mr. O'Keefe at 34 Fairview?
So if you recall on my slides, nowhere did we discuss that in my slides. So no, it wouldn't contradict it. I would want to know where that glass came from.
but you didn't seek that information, did you, sir, in your analysis to determine where the glass came from?
Well, of course I did. I read the reports about it.
But you sit here and you say you don't know the answer. There's steps you could have taken to get that answer quite easily. Couldn't you have, sir?
Not me. That's a material science expert.
You've been communicating with
Yes.
Lieutenant Tully, haven't you?
Correct.
You couldn't have asked Lieutenant Tully that question?
To my knowledge, he's not a material science expert.
But could he have told you the result of testing on that glass on the bumper and whether it was any way associated with the glass found in the snow? Wouldn't that have been an easy question to ask him? Just, has there been testing, and if so, what's the results?
Yes, but my knowledge from reading the reports was it was inconclusive.
But you didn't read all of the reports, did you, sir?
Apparently not.
Let's turn to another topic.
It's getting testy.
Laser
Oh, man.
scans. Part of your analysis involved conducting laser scans of portions of 1 Meadows Avenue, the house of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
Those laser scans were used, at least in part, to answer the question of whether the collision between Miss Reed's SUV and Mr. O'Keefe's Chevy Traverse at 1 Meadows at approximately 5:07 a.m. on January 29, 2022, caused the right rear taillight of the Lexus to break, correct?
Correct.
And in that analysis, inches literally matter, correct?
You want to get it as accurate as possible.
And the reason why inches matter is because, and we're going to get to this.
He said
you
what?
tried, and you did it in your slide presentation on Direct. You tried to see whether the Lexus lined
said
up
size
with the
matters.
Traverse such that there could be a break of the taillight. That was part of your analysis, correct?
So the main part of the photogrammetry was to determine the speeds and the angles and the degree of overlap on the vehicles. And then we also looked at the damage from the video, or actually it's just where the snow was knocked off the rear of the Chevy Traverse, and document the height of that.
You said the main part. I don't want to engage in semantics. I want to go to my question of, isn't part of the laser scan analysis to determine whether or not those two vehicles align sufficiently such that the Lexus could break, the taillight of the Lexus could break coming into contact with the Chevy Traverse? Wasn't that part of your analysis, at least in part?
Yes.
Okay. And in that analysis, inches literally matter, correct?
It can, depending on which way you're going inches.
So the Ring
Oh my gosh.
camera at 1 Meadows, you're familiar with that Ring camera, right? At
Correct.
1 Meadows? That Ring camera at 1 Meadows was used as part of the laser scan process that you and your firm Aperture performed at 1 Meadows on October 2nd, 2024. Do I have the date correct?
I believe so, but like the videos were not literally used during the laser scans. We took the laser scans, the video, combined them together in the process called photogrammetry.
Okay, let's get this down to the fundamentals. You used, and that was my question, Your Honor, if we could publish the exhibit with regard to the Ring camera.
Oh, he's about to go in.
What exhibit is it?
I've got my, yeah. Dr. Welcher, you recognize that Ring camera as being at 1 Meadows. You discussed it, as a matter of fact, on your direct testimony, correct?
Yes.
Now, that Ring camera was utilized as part of your laser scan process, correct? It was used.
So you're confusing laser scan and photogrammetry. The video, the laser scanners are together
No, he's not.
used in the photogrammetry. The camera and the laser scans are not used necessarily with each other.
Was that Ring camera
Answer the question, sir.
used for any part of your work?
Absolutely, the photogrammetry.
I just need to be able to finish my question, sir. Was that
sorry.
Ring camera
No, you're
used
not.
for any part of your work at One Meadows on October 2nd, 2024?
Yes.
And it was used for what purpose?
In the photogrammetric process, to establish the position and dimensions of various things in the video. So then we could go back and overlay the vehicles and track the tracks in the snow, as well as look at the damage to the vehicles.
Right. So this was used to, as a basis, not the only one, to establish dimensions of the other work that was done in analysis at One Meadows, correct?
Correct.
You can take that down, Mr. Wolf. You know that the Ring camera at One Meadows, in existence when Aperture did the work on October 2nd, 2024, was different than the Ring camera that was in existence on January 29th of 2022, the date where you went through to see if those two vehicles align. Is that correct? The cameras are different.
That is correct.
And you know that the cameras are different, and you knew that as part of your analysis, correct?
Correct.
Did you document the differences between the two cameras as part of any work performed at One Meadows?
Yes.
And did you measure any differences there might have been between the location of the newer Ring camera from the older one that was in existence on January 29th of 2022?
No. What we did is use the current Ring camera in conjunction with the old Ring camera, and with the laser scans, we're able to, again, map the points onto the scene. That's why I showed you the report from the photogrammetry software that reported our error.
Sir, my question was just measurement, not your process.
Oh.
Did you measure the difference
I don't believe so.
between where the old camera was and where the new camera was?
No, it was angled slightly more to the right, though.
How would you know that if you were not retained on January 29th of 2022? How would you know where the original angles were?
Because when you look at the first camera, the one on January 22nd, it's here. The new one is slightly over to the right.
That's an eyeball approximation analysis. That's not a
Exactly.
measurement,
It's not at all.
correct?
Well, I don't know that we actually measured it, but we accounted
It
for it
could've
and
been
corrected for
moved.
it. But you can see, for example, what the original one shows, for example, to the left-hand side, compared to what the new one shows to the left-hand side, and it's angled more to the right.
Sir, you have experience with Ring cameras, correct?
I do.
And I think a lot of members of the public have experience with Ring cameras. You can move just the camera portion ever so slightly and change significantly the angle of the camera, can't you, what it captures? Just a small turn,
Potentially.
right? Even a millimeter turn can make a change. A 2 millimeter, a 1 inch can make a significant change with regard to what the camera captures, correct?
Could, sure.
So, did you measure whether the newer camera that was present on October 2nd, 2024 was installed to the left? And I'm talking measure. To the right, to the top, or the bottom relative to the camera that was there on January 29th of 2022?
So we solved for the camera
I'm
position.
asking if you measured, sir.
Oh, no, we didn't measure.
So
Good job, Dr.
let's
Welsher.
talk
Answer
about
questions,
some
sir.
other differences with regard to cameras and Ring cameras. Different Ring cameras can have different levels of distortion, correct?
Potentially.
cameras, well, are you saying that all Ring cameras have the same level of distortion?
The qualifiers.
No, but again, they're mass produced, so you could have some that have the same exact distortion.
So, yes,
you could
would
have
be
some
the
that have
answer.
different.
And you don't know
Answer
the
questions, man.
comparative distortion between what I'm just going to now refer to as the old Ring camera that was there January 29, 2022, and the camera that you saw on October 2024, which I'll refer to the new camera. You don't know the difference in the distortion between those cameras as you sit here today, do you?
So we know enough information that if the distortions had been different, our errors would have been too high. And so the fact that our errors are within acceptable, or what's called an RMS error, we know that the distortions are similar enough to give us accurate measurements.
Sir, that is speculation. That
It's
is
not.
not data. That is not a measurement. You didn't measure the distortion, sir, did you? If the cameras, you didn't have the old camera to do
Answer
it.
the question, doctor.
We didn't, but we had images from the old camera, and then when we get images from the new camera and solve those camera properties and then overlay data from the old images to the new images with the point clouds, if that distortion is too great, we will have too high of errors in our project, which is why I showed the error report from the photogrammetry process to show that we have checked for that and documented that our errors are in acceptable range so that we have confidence in our results.
You do not have information from the manufacturer of Ring. You didn't present it, and you don't have it, as to what is the acceptable level of distortion for the analysis that you did, do you, sir?
The
You have that from Ring.
And I don't have it for Ring, but I
Thank
don't need
you.
it from Ring.
So now let's go to, if cameras have different levels of distortion, that would
This man
change
is
the
under attack.
analysis in reconciling the difference between their angles. That's a pretty straightforward proposition, sir, wouldn't it?
So it depends on how much difference it is, but we have accounted for that.
With which model of the Ring camera was present at One Meadows on January 29, 2022? Which model?
I don't know. I'd have to go look through the data.
Do you believe you, I'm not going to take up the time to have you look, but do you really believe you've got the model of the Ring camera that was in existence on January 29th of 2022?
I don't know. I
You
need to
didn't
look through the
present it
report.
in your direct testimony, did you, sir?
I did not.
So do you have the model of the Ring camera that was present at One Meadows on October 2nd, 2024?
No.
Uh-oh.
So you don't have even the model for either one of them?
Nope. But we have videos from both of them and scans of the scene.
So now let's talk about another aspect of Ring cameras. They have mechanisms, as I was talking about earlier, that allow the user to adjust the camera angle, correct?
Correct.
And do you know whether there was a difference in the camera angle between the two cameras?
Yes, as we already discussed, there was a slight difference in the
But
angles.
you don't have a measurement of that, right, sir? I just
Correct.
Okay.
But we accounted for it.
So wouldn't a difference in
Come on,
models
Judd.
of Ring cameras be relevant at all to your analysis of trying to reconcile any differences between them?
So if
Should
you
be.
have video from both of them and you have laser scans with three-dimensional geometry of the scene, you can go in and it's called a reverse camera analysis and solve for the distortion properties. The scans give you the real world dimensions. So once you know the real world dimensions, you can then go in, you can go in and then solve for the camera lens properties based upon the real world distortions. So for example, if there's a little bit of bending at the end, the laser scan data will show that, and you can correct for that knowing information about the laser scanner.
I'll
or
ask
the
the
laser
question.
scan data.
I'm sorry, I thought you finished, sir. I'm going to ask the question again because it's a narrow question. Wouldn't knowing the difference in the models be relevant? That's all I'm asking. Wouldn't it be relevant to your analysis of reconciling the differences to them? Wouldn't
No.
it be relevant?
No.
So you think the different models are irrelevant to any process?
He's saying 'cause you can measure it from
occasioned
the-
at one- It's irrelevant.
So the
picture.
analysis of the video itself is
the
more
video.
important than the models?
I'm not asking if it's more important. I'm just
makes
asking,
sense to me.
would it be relevant?
No, I don't believe it'd be relevant.
Now let's go to another aspect of the cameras.
Yeah, moving on. I understand what he's saying.
Are key parameters in a camera that the software needs to know focal length?
It is?
Is imaging size something that is an important parameter in a camera?
Yes.
Are sampling characteristics an important parameter in cameras?
Can be.
Is the principal point, you understand that concept, sir? Is that an important parameter in a camera?
Define how you're using principal point.
Sure. A principal point of an image is the point where a camera's direct line of sight, called, as you may know, the optical axis, intersects the image plane. Does that
Gotcha,
sound
yes.
familiar? Mm-hmm. So isn't that the image's mathematical center, the principal point?
More or less, yes.
And for high accuracy photogrammetric work, it's important to know if the lens is mounted centered over the image sensor due to the small manufacturing variances, correct?
Could be important.
And if the principal point is the center of the image.
Okay.
That's relevant. So doesn't that affect the mathematical calculation of the light ray geometry?
It could.
So the variance in manufacturing between cameras is a known issue. Do you agree?
I do.
There's small manufacturing variances that affect one of the key components of the fundamental parameters of the camera, namely the principal point, right?
Correct.
Did you perform the camera calibration of the camera in place in October of 2024?
Yes. So within photogrammetry, we calibrated the photogrammetric analysis to the camera.
Did you address the principal point in that calibration? Do you have documentation that you addressed that important factor, the principal point?
Nope.
So the checking of the RMS error in the software takes into account, sums up all the potential errors in the measurement, which would include that.
Okay. Sir, you know the importance of all of these topics because the output of all the work Aperture did at One Meadows, almost all of it, springs from that camera, correct?
It starts there.
Okay, it starts there. And if the starting point is wrong, then where you go from the starting point is going to be at least potentially wrong, correct?
Potentially.
Would you agree that Ring cameras have a swiveling mechanism so that the user can adjust the camera angle?
Some do.
Yes.
Do you know whether the camera that was in existence on January 29, 2022 had a swiveling mechanism?
I believe it did.
Believe? Do you know?
I do not know for a fact, but
you-
those style of Ring cameras on the surveillance have adjustability that includes angle.
But you don't know whether the camera that was there, the specific camera on January 29, 2022, had a swiveling mechanism or not, correct?
Correct.
And do you know whether the camera that you saw in October of 2024 had a swiveling mechanism on it?
It did.
And where did you document the fact that it had a swiveling mechanism?
I think we have photos of the camera.
Did you document it in writing, and did you document the tolerance of the swiveling mechanism?
No.
Let's go to, and again, all of the camera, this camera that you used is the starting point for your laser scan and photogrammetry process, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's go to another topic. On your direct testimony, as I recall, you stated essentially from various information.
Dr. Welcher, he's done, man. He's out of there with the size. The camera angle. pun intended, is an interesting one to take. I want to know what y'all think about this, because if he's trying to collect all this data and information, you don't have the original camera. Are you able to get enough information from the actual video itself? Hard to say. If you're actually going out to the scene and recreating it, can you use, is there enough science available, good science available for you to be able to recreate and have those types of estimates? We're going to have to see moving forward. I don't know. All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and get back into this one. We're moving on to a different topic. Poor Dr. Welsher. He's about had enough.
It was there, the specific camera on January 29, 2022 had a
Poor
swiveling
guy.
mechanism or not, correct?
Correct.
And do you know whether the camera that you saw in October of 2024 had a swiveling mechanism on it?
It did.
And where did you document the fact that it had a swiveling mechanism?
I think we have photos of the camera.
Did you document it in writing, and did you document the tolerance of the swiveling mechanism?
No.
Let's go to, and again, all of the camera, this camera that you use is the starting point for your laser scan and photogrammetry process, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's go to another topic. On your direct testimony, as I recall, you stated essentially from various information that you lined up in the video, and we're talking about the lining up of the Lexus with the Traverse. And this is at One Meadows. And so, as I understand what you did, sir, is you took what are called point clouds, 3D images, created them for the Lexus. You took created 3D images, synonym point clouds of the Traverse, and then you attempted to line them up to determine, among other things, whether they would align sufficient so that the Lexus could line up and potentially hit the Traverse such that the tail light of the Lexus could be broken. Was that at least part of your analysis?
That was part. There was more.
So,
Again with the qualifiers. Chill out, Dr. Welsher. Come on.
you showed a slide, a few slides, and with your Honor's permission, what I'd like to do is to start with slide 90.
All right, do you have any problem with Dr. Welcher keeping his printed copy that he was using?
I have no problem with the printed copy, Your Honor.
So, I'm sorry, what slide again?
90.
Your Honor, my printed copy tiny.
He said it's tiny, Your Honor. I can't see.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that slide that's part of your presentation depict a view from the top of the Lexus on the right and the Chevy Traverse on the left?
Correct.
And is that depicting contact between the two vehicles?
It is.
Okay.
Now let's zero in a closer look, and that is a contact point. Am I correct?
Correct. I mean, there's multiple points. There's more than
Multiple
one.
points, but it shows more clearly the contact
Correct.
between the two vehicles.
This is important. Very, very important right here.
Now if we could the next, and that is number 91, Mr. Wolf. So, Your Honor, 91. I think these are just going to go in order for a few, and I'll keep announcing them. So, this is 91, same vehicles, just a different viewpoint. Is that correct, Dr. Welcher?
Correct. This and the next
I
slide.
just want to stay
I know.
with this one. I just
Hold on a
asked the
second.
question, does it show the contact?
Right, so go ahead and answer now.
This slide and all the other slides, we're trying to show the angle of contact, but because it's two-dimensional image, you're losing some perspective. For example, here you're seeing the chrome piece on Mr. O'Keefe's Chevrolet, which is on the right. You're seeing it obviously behind where the Lexus is. So we were trying to show it at a whole bunch of different angles to try and illustrate the degree of closeness or lack thereof.
Alrighty. So,
Thank you.
is it correct that on your direct examination, you said in sum and substance, we looked at the degree of overlap, and there's only about a 2 to 3 millimeters of overlap between the vehicles? Is that what you recall saying on direct?
That is correct.
And that you stated that that supposed 2 to 3 millimeters of overlap was insufficient to cause the tail light of the Lexus to contact the rear of the Chevrolet. You recall saying that?
That's correct.
Now, I would like you to look at that. This is from your slide presentation. Is that not showing contact between the two vehicles?
Oh, it absolutely is not. What you're seeing is a portion of the vehicle.
That's not what you see.
that is
It's not what it looks like,
behind
guys.
the area. Keep in mind the angle, the Lexus is angled off to the left. So the area that you see here is actually, in this case, in front of where the taillight is. This is why we tried showing it from a whole bunch of different angles, because when you try and take a two-dimensional image and look at it, you see stuff in the background. So and again, this is why in the computer, we overlaid them, looked at the measurements, in the computer where you don't have this, we have the three-dimensional measurements, and it does not hit.
Where did you show in your slide presentation what you just said, that it doesn't show in overlap?
So
Where?
it shows a contact. It definitely contacted, I'm sorry, Mr. Reporter, down below here. It does not show a contact here. So to answer your question, all the next slides were our attempt to do that. So all the next slides is your answer.
We're going to go to those next slides. So just to be clear, you're saying that that depiction does not show any contact between the taillight of the Lexus and the Chevy Traverse.
So the upper taillight, just to be clear, because the lower taillight is much closer.
Well, it's not only much closer, it's in contact, isn't it, sir?
It's very close. It's probably within an inch of being in contact.
Oh, so you state that even the lower part of the taillight is not making contact?
So, again, maybe there's a photo we could show or a scan. That is on the rear of the vehicle, and it contacts on the corner, which is just around, so maybe like an inch or so in front of it on the corner.
I'm just going with what you presented in your slide
Well, let's
presentation.
go to the next slides, and then
Sir,
maybe
I
we'll see
will
it.
determine which slides we go
Okay.
to on my questioning.
I'm just hoping
So
to
now
answer your
let's
question.
go to, Mr. Wolf, the next slide
There we go.
in your presentation. My question is zeroing in. Are you saying that that slide does not show contact between the tail light of Ms. Reed's Lexus and any part of the Chevy Traverse?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what it shows. You can see a little better here. Again, we tried all these different angles, which is why all these slides are in there. But you can see some of the geometry of the light.
Come on, baby.
This structure, and again, remember I said the Chevy kind of curves in as it goes up a little bit?
Let's go to the next slide. 40. 40, yes, please. Is it working? 41, Your Honor.
Right, thank you.
It looks like they're colliding to me, but the good doctor said, y'all, it's not what it looks like,
That's
guys.
Exhibit 41? No, as a question, because that's not my slides.
So, Mr. Alessi, is this exhibit number 41, or is this from the PowerPoint? Because,
Slide 41? Slide.
okay.
Yes.
So I'm putting this up because I want to show an actual photograph of that tail light, and I would like you, sir, to focus on the quarter panel tail light in each. Do you see a jutting out of the quarter panel tail light in that photo? You see it jut out?
So I don't know if you and I are talking the same thing. There are little fins here.
Correct. Now, what I'd like to do is to go back to the depiction we were just looking at, and that depiction doesn't show the jutting out, does it?
No, it does.
It's a bad model.
Those are actually more on the side of the vehicle. You can't see them in this image.
Correct. You
But-
can't see them.
Hold on a second. I wasn't finished. But
Sir.
they are 100% there. We
Your
actually
Honor.
did special hand scans with a hand scanner of the taillight to put it back on to the
Objection.
vehicle.
You say they're
Non-responsive.
100% there, but you can't see it in that depiction, can you? The jutting out that you could see in the two-dimensional one we just saw. You can't see it.
I can't see who's behind that wall because it's being blocked by something. I can't see on the side of the taillight because it's on the side I can't see. It's being blocked.
Sir, my question is simple. You cannot see the jutting out of the tail light in this depiction, can you?
Correct.
Okay, now let's go on to the next question in this topic. You could have easily solved what you consider to be the issues you had with trying to show it lining up, couldn't you, sir? You had an easy solution for that.
I took the best solution. I'm not
Which
sure what
was?
you're
You had
referring to.
3D images, correct?
I did.
You could have shown and measured 3D images to get almost the exact contact point and almost the exact dimensions if you had just used the 3D images that you had available to you. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly what we did. When I went through the video analysis, I showed you how we overlaid the point clouds, the 3D scans, on top of each vehicle. So we took the, we took
Sir,
the vehicles.
please don't interrupt.
Hold on.
Your
Hold
Honor,
on.
he keeps referencing my hand and saying I'm doing something when I'm not, and I think that's distracting to the jury. I'm not interrupting
Hold
him.
on. Let the
Dang.
witness answer the
I
question.
am. I'm just holding my hand like this, Your Honor. He keeps saying that I'm doing
Mr.
something.
Lessie, please.
All right.
Go ahead, finish the answer. then.
Again, in the photogrammetric analysis, I showed
it's
the video.
about to get ugly.
I showed how we overlaid the point cloud on top of the video. That proves that the way we solved it, correct camera characteristics, matches. Otherwise, that would be distorted. We overlaid the scans of the Lexus into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid the scans of the scene into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid all that stuff into the analysis. We did exactly what you're suggesting.
You could have easily addressed this issue by the following. If you really believe there was no contact or not sufficient contact, you could have produced a graphic that shows a gap between the two vehicles. A graphic, couldn't you? That's not a graphic.
What is that?
Sir, I get to ask the questions, and you are to answer them subject to the judge's ruling. So my question is, couldn't you have created a graphic that
That's-
would have better shown
Sorry.
Oh, they're
the
gonna fight.
issue that you are creating or talking about today? That's my question. Couldn't you have created a graphic?
We did. We created a whole bunch of graphics.
You called what we just saw a graphic?
Yes.
Well, if there's a gap, why isn't there then something that shows a clear gap?
Because when you have the angulation of the vehicles, you have perspective. When you're looking at it, even if you do a top down, you see everything projected onto a single flat plane. So you can't tell the height of things. So when you see things in this dimension, you can't necessarily see depth of things. So you lose in two-dimensional images, you lose one dimension depending on which way you're looking. That's why I showed it from all these different angles to try and show exactly what you're saying. We had graphics to do that.
3D images allow you to show perspectives for 360 degrees, correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, none of what you presented in your slideshow shows the contact points from 360 degrees, does it?
I don't understand your question. Are you asking if I showed it at every single, I went through 360 slides that showed it at every single degree?
Sir, let's move on. I think I've made the point.
So I'm going to strike the
Okay.
comment, Mr. List.
Dr. Welcher, let's go to the next topic.
Now let him get his shots in there. Dang, that was pretty heated.
And keep with these two depictions.
All right, moving on to the next topic. Dr. Welcher is tripping today. So is Alessi.
Are these two images point clouds or 3D images? Are these two?
Those are one and the same thing. They're yes.
I would use them as synonym. Which term of the two do you want to use? Point cloud or 3D images?
Both are fine. It's a 3D image composed of points, which
Okay, so let's just call them 3D images, so we
Okay.
can do this more quickly. The Lexus and the Chevy Traverse that are depicted there are both 3D images of those vehicles, correct?
correct.
And Aperture created the 3D images, correct?
Correct.
Sir, did you do these scans and did you personally create these images?
No, one of the assistants at Aperture did.
So you're speaking about what somebody else did at Aperture, correct?
They were doing it at my direction. And for example, the Lexus scan, I showed the photographs. You can see the gentleman that works at Aperture, Mike Morelli, was scanning them for me while I was doing the rest of the inspection. And then the hand scanning of the rear tail light was done by another engineer. I was out there with him doing it, taking measurements. And then same thing with the Chevy Traverse.
My question is, you didn't do the creation of these 3D images, did you?
The individual images, no.
All right, so let's go to these individual images. These are 3D images, is that your testimony?
Yes.
Let's look at the tail light.
Okay.
That's not a 3D image, that's a Photoshop, isn't it?
Nope.
Oh, so it's your testimony that that tail light is a 3D image?
That absolutely is a 3D image. The way you can tell is when you get up near the chrome, because lasers don't like shiny objects, you start to get a scatter. So see all these dots here? If that was a photo, you wouldn't have these dots.
Let's go to the Chevy Traverse. Let's, Mr. Woke, zero in on the content, yeah. There's grain on that tail light, in the tail light. That's a 3D image of a tail light, isn't it, sir?
They're both 3D images.
Well, I just want to stay with one. That tail light is a 3D image, and one of the ways you can tell is because it's got all that grainy material on it, correct?
Correct.
Now let's go back, Mr. Woke, to the Lexus.
He thinks he's doing something.
Let's now go to the bumper.
But do you want me to explain the difference?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shut the.
I would like to go to the bumper.
It's a family show. They got me about
Do you
to say
see
something
any
on this.
grainy
Oh, no, we do not. Shut
predominance
up.
of any grainy image on the bumper?
There's a little bit. So for example, when you get near edges, it has a hard time with edges.
I'm
So
sorry,
you-
the bumper cover.
right.
See the bumper cover up above?
This whole thing is the bumper cover. That's the step pad. That's the rear body panel or the rear deck lid.
I'm talking about the step pad, sir? Just the step pad of the bumper?
Are you asking about just from here to here?
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Yep. Yes. Yes.
The bumper, step
Can we
pad.
zoom in on it?
Pardon me?
Can we zoom in on it?
Sure. Do you see any?
Yeah, I see graininess.
Let's go over to...
Right in here. You can see it all through here. You see it through here.
Well, I'm talking about the step pad, not the entire bumper. I'm just talking about the step pad.
Right. So you're zooming in on the bumper.
Right.
The step pad is this structure up here.
We're going to move up. It just takes a while. So your testimony is that is a...
Can you zoom in more?
That's... You would like it zoomed in?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Your testimony is that that is a 3D image, not a Photoshopped step bumper cover. Is that correct?
So we have mapped the color over the 3D scans. We used 2 separate scanners. If you recall, when I got out to Miss Reed's vehicle, that taillight was gone. So we had to replace the taillight.
Talking about the bumper cover, not the taillight.
Okay, I'm explaining the process.
I'm just asking about the bumper cover, not the process.
So focus your answer on the bumper.
That is a laser scan.
Okay, so your
That's a 3D
testimony
model.
is the step part of the bumper cover is a 3D image from a laser scan, and it's not a Photoshop. That's your testimony.
Absolutely.
And you didn't perform the work for the 3D that you claim the bumper step up is. You didn't do that work to produce that depiction, did you, sir? Somebody else in your firm did it.
So this is all done at my direction. The engineers that work for me, so I'm telling them what to do. I'm not the one punching the keys.
That's
I'm
my
saying,
question.
I need you to do this, 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 and this. Use the hand scanner, go scan the light. I need to put this back in because it was missing when we got to it. So no, I'm not punching the keys.
Okay, so
Okay? Come on over, please.
Uh-oh, we got a sidebar. Things are getting testy. Oh, we got our first sidebar. The dock is melting before our eyes. Let's keep it going.
with regard to, no, we don't need him back up, Mr. Wolf. Isn't it correct that 3D images allow for proper and most accurate measurements as opposed to 2D images? Is that a correct general statement?
I mean, generally, yeah.
Okay, that's my question. So let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about hydraulics on the Lexus SUV. What type of hydraulic system does the Lexus SUV have?
So it has a mechanism, I believe it's actually pneumatic. It's air-based system that raises it up and down.
Do you know what the name of that system is, sir?
No, not off the top of my head.
Do you know how it works
I
specifically?
do. Well, I mean, I know generally that there's a button on the interior where you can raise and lower the ride height.
And is that the extent of your knowledge of that system on the Lexus?
No, again, I know when you park it, it'll drop down the ride height. When you adjust it for different roadway conditions, it'll change the ride height.
Do you know what the height tolerances are? In other words, the lowest to the highest?
I believe it's around 1.25 inches. At one point in time, I measured it. I don't remember off the top of my head.
So you believe it's 1.25 inches up and 1.25 inches down? How do you apply the 1.25 inches?
I recall the total being like 1.25 inches, but I measured it at one point in time. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Would you be surprised to hear that the tolerance is 5 inches on that vehicle?
I would be surprised. I don't recall it being that much, but I would need to double check.
Assume that the manual as well as other informations support that the tolerance is 5 inches and that specifically the vehicle can be raised 3 inches high and it can be lowered 2 inches. That's the basis for the 5. What was the suspension height of Miss Reed's Lexus that you used for your accident reconstruction analysis out front at 34 Fairview between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. on January 29, 2022 to determine whether it was possible for the spoiler on the back of the Lexus to make contact with the eye of Mr. O'Keefe? If it was even possible, what did you use for a measurement of the suspension?
Matched the measurements from when the vehicle was tested, I believe on February 1st at the Canton Police Department.
What match did you make?
So we aligned the bottom of the taillight, actually the sheet metal right below the taillight. So we adjusted the height of the Lexus to match that.
Did you in any place document what level the Lexus was at the time of any testing, meaning the suspension? Did you document at all?
Yes.
Where?
Slide 107.
Can we have slide 107, Mr. Wolf?
And then if you could zoom in on the lower photograph, the gentleman with the blue shirt. Zoom in a little more, please. So if I may, we matched the bottom of the sheet metal here to photographs when it was at the Canton Police Department.
Sir, my question is, where did you document whether the suspension was at 0, whether it was +3 or -2? Where did you document that?
Right here.
And what are the numbers of the documentation of that?
I don't know. We were matching the photos. So I don't care what the numbers are. I care that the height is the same.
Okay, so I just heard you say, if I heard correctly, you don't care what the suspension is at. Is that your testimony?
No, I don't care what the suspension number is as long as the heights match.
I understand. I understand. So
Interesting. That seems like that would be pertinent information.
what was the suspension height of
But hey, I'm
Ms.
not an
Reed's
engineer.
Lexus
Not
at
even close.
5:07 a.m. on January 29th, 2022, while at One Meadows and colliding with the Chevy Traverse? What was the suspension height then?
We assumed it was the same as when it was at the Canton Police Department.
Exactly. You assumed, but there's no measurement like
Come
was just
on,
on
man.
that depiction. There was no note that said, okay, we're doing this very important and inches sensitive measurements to see whether the tail light on the Lexus makes contact with the Traverse, but there's no measurement
This
and
expert's
no
assuming.
documentation of what the suspension height was at One Meadows, correct?
So we took the closest measurement in time to the Mun Meadows event, which is when it was at the Canton Police Department. That was the best information we had.
Well, that information isn't very good because the vehicle had to go from Canton to One Meadows, and when the vehicle drives, the way the suspension system works, it's automatic. When you go above 20 miles an hour, the suspension comes up, and when you turn off the
Amy
vehicle,
was talking about
it
this
goes
this
down
morning.
so you can get out easier. So
Yep.
it would be improper to assume that the suspension at One Meadows would be the same at another location.
That's the only, sorry.
Range Rovers do the same thing.
Go ahead and answer.
Lots of other cars
That's
do
the
the
extent
same
of the
thing.
information we had. We had it when it was at the Canton Police Department.
That's-
We matched that height.
Sorry, sir. I understand.
An expert assuming, get him out of here.
But actually, you brought up a good point. It's going so slow when it's backing up that it wouldn't raise up. So the static position when it's backing up would be the static position.
But it wouldn't be going in back
Stop,
up
Doc,
from
stop.
the Canton Police Department to One Meadows. It wouldn't be going back up when it's going in other locations, sir, right? It would be driving forward. It had to get from point A to point B.
Right, but as you pointed out, when you turn it off, it drops down, and then you turn it on, and then once you go above 20, as you indicated, it goes up. But when she's backing up, she never goes more than a couple miles an hour. So it's going to be at the same position as when you start, which is approximately the same position when it's off at the Canton Police Department a couple days later.
Do you know whether the suspension system locks when there is testing of the infotainment system?
Uh-oh.
Whether the suspensions, I don't know.
Okay. Let's go on
Oh,
to
my.
the next topic.
He doesn't know. On to
You're
the next
aware
topic.
of the vehicle control. Okay.
Whether the suspensions, I don't know.
Okay. Let's go on
Next
to
topic.
the next topic. You're aware of the vehicle control. Excuse me, Your Honor.
Doctor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to go, I'm changing topics to go back now to Fairview, 34 Fairview. You don't know what the suspension ride height at 34 Fairview was on January 29th of 2022, do you?
Correct.
So therefore, if you don't know what the suspension height was, because of course you weren't there on January 29, 2022, therefore there's no measuring stick, as you say, you assert that you would have accounted for it in your methodology. So you don't have the suspension height for that key day, do you, sir?
I only have it 2 days later.
All right. So when you talk about key measurements, such as the spoiler on the top of the Lexus and the inches that are important as to whether things such as is there a contact with the front eye, you don't have some data that would be relevant to that calculation, the sum data being the suspension height of the Lexus at that time, do you?
So we have some data. We have photos of the vehicle 2 days later. We don't know the exact height outside because, as you alluded to, we don't have a measurement on January 29th of it, but we do have it 2 days later. That's the source of the measurement.
You don't have the suspension height or the setting of the suspension of the Lexus that existed on January 29th, 2022, do you?
Correct.
Now let's go on to another topic.
No, we were moving through these topics. How y'all feeling about this expert?
Within the 34
assumptions.
Fairview on January 29th of 2022, I'm not going to go over them, but you asserted various measurements, height, width, with regard to the Lexus, correct? It wasn't just for the spoiler at the top, correct?
Correct.
And for all those other measurements that you talked about, you did not have the suspension height and the suspension setting of the hydraulic system of the Lexus on January 29th, 2022, did you?
So the hydraulic's only going to affect the vertical dimensions. It doesn't change anything left to right. And it doesn't change anything down the side of the car.
Understood. But for the measurements that are affected by vertical, you didn't have the suspension height of the Lexus system on January 29, 2022.
Again, I only know what it is 2 days later.
So now let's go on to vehicle control history. Sir, you understand what I mean by vehicle control history of
Do? This is text stream information?
Are you aware of what is called the Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles?
Of course. We showed it on my slides.
And the Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles is sometimes referred to as the black box.
No, you're mixing up two things. So the Bosch is like the tools.
It's a question, sir.
So, can you answer that with a yes or no?
Is the Bosch crash data retrieval system the black box on Lexus vehicles? I just wanted to repeat it so we can.
I didn't hear what the objection. You objected?
I'd like him to be able to finish his answers.
Yeah. So the question was just asked. Can you answer that question?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, next question, Mr. Emerson.
I'm going to ask the question, sir. The Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles, you're familiar with that? Are you familiar?
Good Lord. Oh no, hopefully it doesn't jump us ahead. What happened? Oh, it's just getting good. Hold on, guys. I don't know what happened. Did we lose the feed? Hold on a second.
Can you answer that with a yes or no?
Is the Bosch crash data retrieval system the black box on Lexus vehicles? I just wanted to repeat it so we can.
I didn't hear what
Oh,
the
I think it froze.
You objected?
I'd like him to be able to finish his answers.
Yeah.
Dang.
So the question was just asked. Can you answer that question?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, next question, Mr. Wilson.
I'm going to ask the question, sir. The Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles, you're familiar with that? Are you familiar?
Yeah, it's the feed, guys. So we're gonna skip ahead a little bit.
Assist in vehicle
Let me see.
tech by
frozen.
Lexus as a diagnostic tool for their technicians, Lexus technicians, to assist in vehicle repair and maintenance. Is that what that is created for?
That's their stated purpose.
Right. And is a synonym for VCH TechStream?
Sort of. TechStream, similar, like Bosch is the hardware and software to access the black box data. TechStream is the software to access, for example, the pre-collision system, the PCS system, and the VCH, which is the vehicle control history. So TechStream which does a lot of other stuff, but does access that information.
You just mentioned Bosch, didn't you, sir?
So Bosch is not in the Lexus. You use Bosch stuff sold by Bosch, Bosch software and hardware, and you walk up to the Lexus with all the Bosch stuff and plug it in and download the event data recorder, the EDR, the black box. That was my problem. There is no
Understood.
Bosch stuff in the Lexus.
I understand, sir. That was going to be the question that I was trying to get to, but you've explained it, so I don't have to answer the question. Let's go to the VCH database that you say the stated purpose is to assist technicians at Lexus in vehicle repair and maintenance.
So I didn't say that was a stated purpose. I'm saying that's what Lexus or Toyota says is a stated purpose. It's being used in litigation
Appreciate you,
all the
CP.
time. All I know is that's what Lexus and Toyota says. But again, it came about right when we started seeing all the sudden accelerations in the Toyota vehicles.
So my question is the VCH database specific to Toyota and Lexus vehicles?
So it's not a database, it's software.
Is the software specific to Lexus and Toyota, the VCH?
Those particular acronyms are, yes.
Great.
Want to move to another topic, and we are almost finished. We have just two more topics, sir.
He said,
How
fantastic.
common were VCH events
Sweating
when
up
Miss
there.
Reed owned the Lexus?
In 2022,
Do you know the ownership period of Miss Reed with respect to the Lexus? Do you know how long she owned it?
I have that documentation. I don't know off the top of my head.
Do you have an approximate?
No, I mean, it was a 2021 vehicle. Our accident's January 29, 2022. But I did get that information.
Do you know how many VCH events were associated with the Lexus of Miss Reed?
I did not count them, no. I have them all.
Do you
I was
have-
only focused on the ones around our time period.
Exactly. But do you have the number of events? Do you know how many there were?
I could get it for you.
How long would it take, sir?
3 minutes?
Why don't we come back to it?
Okay.
And we'll see if it's...
How about I start this so that we don't have to wait for it to boot up? And then when we come back to it, it's ready to go. You
As
okay
long
with
as
that?
that's all you're looking at, sir.
Yep.
Thank you. And then pick your head up, please, so I can finish these two
Please,
topics.
go ahead.
So,
He's
how
still looking at
often
his
were
computer.
VCH events recorded on the Lexus before January 29th of 2022?
Man, I have to pull this data up.
Fair
to-
enough, fair
to
enough.
answer that
I
question.
assume that's going to be in what you're also pulling up.
That's the goal here.
Would the number be about 15, 1-5? Does that sound right to you?
Let's see. 1, 2. There's 18.
18. So there were your records show that there were 18 VCH events recorded on Miss Reed's Lexus, correct?
Before the subject one.
Right. Did you conclude that any of those events, other than the 1162-2, were a collision?
No.
Now let's go to reverse recorded events. Can you tell how many of those 18 events were reverse recorded events? And you know what I mean by reverse recorded events?
Yes.
So she was
Vehicle
going in reverse.
How many of those events were the vehicle going in reverse?
And this is before.
4. Other than
He asked
No, no,
you,
I
is
said
this
before.
before?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I would have to pull up the PCS file.
Could you start that and I can continue on with the questioning?
I got to, so the PCS file is I have a second laptop that has
Here's what I'm going to
touchscreen.
do. That's not important for me to keep going and get through it,
Okay.
so let's just stay on the events, okay? Only one of all of those events, those 18, are you concluding
He's
that
doing
there
it
was a
anyway.
collision associated with them, correct? Just one.
No, all those 18 are before. The collision's number 19.
No, I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, but for all the other events that are recorded, you're not, other than the January 29, 1162-2, you're not concluding that any of those were collisions, correct?
I didn't look at them. They were so far mileage away from everything.
But you're not concluding, even though they were so far away and you didn't look at them, you don't conclude from the information you have that any of them were a collision, correct?
Sustained.
Let's go to 5:07 a.m. on January 29th, 2022 at One Meadows, the home of Mr. O'Keefe.
Okay.
There was a collision between Miss Reed's 6,000-pound Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe's approximately 4,500 Chevy Traverse. That's undisputed, correct? They collided. They made contact.
They touched.
Right. But the actual collision at One Meadows did not register the recording of an event on the Lexus VCH system, did it?
Correct. It's too minor.
So, however, you want this jury, sir, to
Qualifiers. It was too
conclude
minor.
that the glancing blow that you contend occurred at 34 Fairview Road by the same 6,000-pound Lexus in contact with a mere 216-pound man did register an event on the Lexus, correct?
No. The impact didn't register the event. As I pointed out, the trigger was from when the accelerator pedal went to 30%. The tech stream does not register crashes at all. It registers excessive acceleration.
What? So this whole time, all the text stream data is showing us is how fast she was going and that she pressed down on the accelerator. I will rewind that. The text stream data doesn't show crash information at all. Then why are we here? I'll rewind it for you guys.
Contact with a mere 216-pound man did register an event on the Lexus, correct?
No. The
Then why-
impact didn't register the event. As I pointed out, the trigger was from when the accelerator pedal went to 30%. The tech stream does not register crashes at all. It registers excessive acceleration, excessive steering, excessive braking, things like that, things that would be part of the maintenance system. So the tech stream will never register an event, even if you hit a wall at 100 miles an hour necessarily. I mean, it'll cause fault codes and things like that, but that's not what it does. The trigger here was transitioning into reverse and then gunning the accelerator pedal in reverse. And so when it went from 30 up to 74% throttle, once it went over 30 in that transition, that's what triggered the tech stream. It had nothing to do with, and that's why I'm telling you, I don't know when in that event the impact occurred, because the tech stream doesn't tell you that.
Thank you. That
You're
is
welcome.
Exactly my point.
This is
The
so
technique
dumb.
Information doesn't tell you when a collision occurs, does it?
Wow. Why are we here? Oh. Oh, man.
That's all the questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
All right.
Wow.
Let's take our morning recess, James.
What a great way to end that. So, Alessi just told the jury, hey, that text stream data, it's useless. Because what do we have? We've got blue paint. We've got some data that says Karen Reed was backing out of her driveway. We've got a man who says he's going to assume certain things about what happened when the Lexus backed into the Chevy Traverse. What are we doing? Oh, man. We did all that time for us to end at this point, which is the text stream data doesn't tell you if a collision occurred. No, of course not. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. This is huge. I'm going to read some super chats and then we'll get through this morning break. I don't know how long they're going to take, but wow. Shout out to and shout out to our current leaders on the community leaderboard. We've got Amy at number 1. We've got April Rain at number 2 and Tatum right behind at number 3. Thank y'all for taking part in the community leaderboard. Fun feature that we're getting to test out over here on the channels. Thank you to YouTube for allowing us to test this early. It's pretty cool stuff. We've got Amy. I don't think I mentioned this one. Nope. There's a couple I didn't read actually. We've got Slim Life New Jersey in the building with the 5 bomb. Says, good morning, my lovely CEB family. I'll be in and out today. My dog has to go to the vet. Oh no. Hopefully your dog's okay. Love y'all. We love and appreciate you as well, Slim Life. Thank you. We've got Amy in here with the peach. Oh, you know what time it is. Shout out to Amy. Also gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Amy, make sure you take a second and say thank you if you could, please. She's also got the popcorn super sticker. This has been something to watch, and the way the testimony ended was absolutely perfect. So shout out to Amy for the popcorn. We needed it today. Mr. Brown's in here with the 2 bomb, just showing love. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Praying for you. Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you so much. We've got CPE is in the building with the 5 bomb. Says, I'm not mad anymore because I know this is just a show trial at this point. Yeah, I agree. Still not paying the handsome tax. Yes, you are, CPE. Thank you for your contribution. All right. We appreciate you. We got Kara Hampton in here as well with the 5 bomb. Says, I'm over this dude. He is no expert. He needs to be the courthouse janitor alongside Bev. Oh my goodness. Shots fired. Thank you for the love, Kara. And then we got Curious Coco New York with the 10 bomb. Says, can we be done with this witness tax? Yeah, amen to that. Let the Commonwealth rest their BS case in chief and let AJ, Alessi, and Yannetti lay it down wicked hard. I like how you put that in there. Free Karen Reed. Shout out to Curious Coco New York for the 10 bomb. Guys, this witness was rough. And then we went through all this data. We showed all the reconstruction, all these assumptions. And I even had someone tell me, oh yeah, this data is ironclad. No, it's not. It's not ironclad at all. And it doesn't really tell us anything other than she reversed. in her car, and that's it, which we already knew. Yeah, the Commonwealth needs to give it up. It's time to move on because I don't see them helping their case. And now we just heard from Alessi. I got to rewind this back. This is a huge moment. Look at this.
That's all the questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
30, when it went from 30 up to 74% throttle, once it went over 30 in that transition, that's what triggered the texturing. It had nothing to do with, and that's why I'm telling you, I don't know when in that event the impact occurred, because the texturing doesn't tell you that.
Thank you. That
You're
is
welcome.
exactly my point. The texturing information doesn't tell you when a collision occurs, does it?
Correct.
Look at Judd being like, he said, well, I wasn't trying to help you. Kara Hampton here again, gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Kara, make sure y'all say thank you in the chat. KK over there, who we got? We've got Shanice got one, O got one, Jamela got one, and Miss Nola got one as well. Y'all make sure you show some love to Kara in here as well. All right, let's see. How long are we going to have for this morning break, Bev? And thank you to everyone who's liked the video too. All 1,000 of y'all. Wow.
At this time, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Why don't we take our morning recess, Charles?
How long are we going to have for the morning break? Because we had a pretty good bit of delay. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, we're back. We're back, y'all. And it looks like Brennan might be a little upset.
Please be seated, court is in session.
The redirect, Mr. Brennan?
Thank you.
All right, we got redirect. I shouldn't. I'm laughing already. How are we gonna get back to the data? Oh, the dater. Excuse me. This Brennan, come on, man. I want to give you a chance, and you've had some good points, but dude, you got. Okay, all right. Let's get it together. Redirect. We can do this, guys. How on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being the worst, 10 being the best, how do y'all think this redirect is gonna go?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brandon.
You were asked some questions.
Actually, it's morning, but yes.
You were asked some questions about the ring video
talking,
from Meadows, which was John O'Keefe's home.
Oh God.
And you were asked whether you're aware if the cameras had changed over time.
Correct.
The fact that the camera was replaced, does that any way affect
April
your
said too.
opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty about your conclusions relative to that touching between the cars?
Absolutely not. It would have shown up as increased error when we overlaid the point clouds onto the photos or the point clouds onto the video. If it was an error, it would have showed an error.
Do you have any concern whatsoever that any of the information from the scan is in any way tainted, compromised, or inadequate?
That would be very hard to do. You literally press a button and stand there and watch it, and the laser does its thing. So I have absolutely no reason to disbelieve it. Additionally, again, if it was messed up, once you laid it over on top of the photograph, it would show the difference. So no, the data's fine.
Is there any evidence whatsoever that you've seen that any parts of your presentation were photoshopped?
No.
You were asked questions about the suspension of the motor vehicle of the defendant's Lexus. Do you have any information that the suspension at any point was changed?
No.
Yesterday you were asked a number of questions about formulas. You took out your calculator and you were asked about
Calculator.
different variables. Were those variables hypotheticals, or were they related to this specific case?
So they seemed hypothetical. Again, you have to be careful when you're talking about failure forces on biomechanical things. For example, if you impact the hand with a, say, 1-inch narrow metal bar, that's a lot different than if you have a broad, say, plastic taillight or rear body panel. So when you have distributed loads, you can take much more. I told you guys about sitting on the bed, like how much you sink in. That's an example of spreading your load out. When you spread the load out, you don't sink in as much. So same thing with, forces on your body. If you take this pencil, I don't have to press very hard for it to pull in. But if I spread it out, I have to press much harder. So you have to look at the distribution of the load when you're talking about the failure. So when you look at the failure loads, it depends on what you're doing it with.
Here we go.
If I hit you with
Distributing
a
the loads.
5-pound 2x4 or a 5-pound pillow, they're both 5 pounds, but you'd much rather get hit by the pillow than the 2x4.
When you were asked questions about communications, when you would have communications with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, did you ever use encrypted apps to secretly hide your communications? Apps like Signal?
No, I don't have any of those.
So the form of the question.
Objection, Your
asked
Honor.
differently.
When you were communicating with members of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, did you ever use encrypted apps like Signal to communicate?
Objection, scope, Your Honor.
I'm going
Objection.
to allow it.
No, I mean, I don't even know what that is.
Would you ever use an encrypted app so those communications couldn't be tracked?
No.
Would you ever have any reason as a professional for doing that?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You were asked about confirmation bias. You remember those questions?
I do?
Could I have slide 33 of your PowerPoint, please?
I'm sorry, what number?
Slide
33.
33.
Give me a second. $33.
You could zoom that in, please. A little larger so we can see it.
I cannot do it with one monitor.
You can't do it any closer than that?
Not since I took down. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Which part do you want me to zoom in?
Ms. Gilman can zoom in for you.
Sorry? Which part?
Jurors are going to
Ms.
notice the
Gilman's going to
difference.
do it for you.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
If you could zoom in, please. Okay. On shift position signal, going forward, then neutral and reverse. Does
Don't
that
do
data
this,
suffer
Brennan. We
from
don't give a
confirmation
F
bias?
about this anymore.
No,
don't care.
that's strictly electronic data.
When we look over at the vehicle speed, can we go to the left a little bit? Down. Vehicle speed ending at 2361 miles per hour. Does that suffer from confirmation bias?
No, again, these are direct readings from the vehicle. Again, that speed on this here, you have to correct for the slippage, which I do later on in the slide, but that is a direct reading from what the speedometer is seeing.
Acceleration at the end of that 10-second window, 74%. Does that suffer from confirmation bias?
No, that's a direct reading of a sensor. That's objective information.
We don't care about this anymore.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Jeez. After Alessi just dropped the bomb on his entire testimony, you're going to ask about data? Really? What? I can't believe after a day and a half, that's all Brennan had for redirect. What did we get from that? What are we doing here, man? Oh my gosh.
Anything, Mr. Lessie?
I want to guess what Alessi's going to say. I want to try and predict it. Unless it's going to say, hey, Dr. Welsher, out of all this data that's on this spreadsheet, does any of it tell you or show you or imply that John O'Keefe was hit by Karen Reed's Lexus? And he's going to be like, I really hope he asked that question. All right, let's see, guys. We're live, so I don't know. Since we're going to focus on the data.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Welcher, you were just asked questions about slide 33, which is the slide about text stream data.
I'm going to lose it
You
if he
acknowledge that text stream data, what you've called a trigger, like was on that slide, does not tell you if a collision even occurred, correct?
Oh my God.
Correct.
With regard to the topic of confirmation bias that you were just asked about and slide 30.
Oh, he's so mad. He's
not-
so mad.
Question.
Oh, look
Yeah, Your
at
Honor.
him. I can't. I'm crying. I can't. I'm crying. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Why did we spend a day and a half on this guy? Why? Yo. Oh, man. He said correct. Oh, Mr. Brown, I warned y'all, man. I told you I was gonna lose it. I swear. If Alessi asked him that question, yo, here we go. All right, I'm sorry, we're losing some people. I'm gonna be an attorney. I'm gonna be an attorney.
Dr.
That's
Welcher,
it.
you
I'm
were
going to law
just asked
school.
questions about slide 33, which is
Oh,
a slide
my
about
God.
text stream data. You acknowledge that text stream data, what you've called a trigger, like was on that slide, does not tell you if a collision even occurred, correct?
Correct.
With regard to the topic of confirmation bias that you were just asked about in slide 33, am I correct that all of the questions that Attorney Brennan just asked you were about data on that slide, correct? All that's on that slide is data, correct?
Now, he asked me more questions than just this slide.
But were the questions just about data?
On this slide, it was just about data.
Correct. But confirmation bias is really aimed at opinions and conclusions and alternative hypotheses. Isn't that what confirmation bias gets
Get
at?
this freaking guy out of here.
Generally, yes. Again, I started this case with
It was
the
just a question.
hypothesis.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
With the hypothesis that the Lexus didn't contact Mr. O'Keefe. And so I start what's called the null hypothesis, that this didn't happen. And then I look at evidence to either include or exclude the null hypothesis. So theoretically, my confirmational bias starts with a bias that it didn't happen.
Can you point to one document
That tells you
shows
that John O'Keefe was hit by the car.
whether there was no contact between the Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe. You would point to one document. Was there one document on your slide presentation, for example, that analyzed the null hypothesis, as you call it, there being no contact at all? Was there any slide in your direct testimony?
Nope.
So remember what I said. We start with hypothesis. We get more data. We whittle down our hypothesis to the final answer.
Dr. Welsher answered the question. Show me on the spreadsheet that tells you John O'Keefe was hit by Karen Reed's Lexus. You're the data guy. Dr. Welsher, you have all the data. Where's the spreadsheet? And it says, I want you to go down to column A, line 14, and it says right here, T, trigger event. John O'Keefe was hit by Lexus. Do you have that, Dr. Welsher? You don't.
I mean, I had 130 slides. I suspect I bored some of these people to death already. So I didn't include everything. There's thousands of photographs in here. There was a bunch of testing I did
We don't
with the
care.
Lexus about backing, pedestrian detection that, you know, removed certain hypotheses. So
don't care.
if I was able to eliminate a hypothesis, I didn't present it here.
Sir, my question is not about your...
All the slides show that, to answer your question.
Sir,
That's not answering the question.
is there any slide that says alternative hypothesis to whatever the label is, whatever the term, it says no contact between the Lexus vehicle and Mr. O'Keefe? Is there any document that you presented to the jury that shows that?
Any document where those words are written on it?
Correct.
No.
And to work through hypotheses, different ones, and to see whether there's confirmation bias, have you heard of scientists refer that as showing your math, so to speak, in working through hypotheses, documenting each hypothesis and how and why you rejected them? Have you heard of that term in the scientific world, show your math with confirmation biases and alternative hypotheses? Just a question. Have you heard the idiom, the phrase, show your math?
Your question is, have I ever heard show your math, period?
Associated with the application of various hypotheses to avoid confirmation bias. Have you heard of that term used in that conjunction?
Not really in that
Okay.
context. It's probably, I understand where you're going with it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
No further questions.
Dr. Welcher, you are all set.
Oh my God, thank you. Give me a minute to pack up and I will be out of here.
Wow. Guys, wow.
Oh, I am plugged in, yes, thank you.
Guys. Wow. It started so great.
Excuse me? Yes.
Thank you.
I need a minute. We could skip through this because we are about a few minutes behind. But man, I'm in shock.
Thank you very much. Mr. Brennan?
We got a video clip.
Commonwealth moves to introduce and play clip 26.
So, I thought, could I have run him over? Did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, I've always got the music blasting. It's snowing. I got the wipers going, the heater blasting. did he come and hit the back of my car and I hit him in the knee and he's drunk and passed out and asphyxiated or something? And then when I hired David Yannetti, I asked him those questions the night of January 29th. Like, David, what if, I don't know, what if I ran his foot over? Or what if I clipped him in the knee and he passed out or went to care for himself and he threw up or passed out? And David said, yeah, then you have some element of culpability.
Ooh. Oh no.
207.
But I thought she said, I hit him, not did I hit him. Interview tells a different story. Man, am I like...
Your Honor, the Commonwealth rests.
Yes! Ow! Oh, oh yes! It happened, guys. It happened. The Commonwealth rest. Wow. We are here. It is time. All right. I know it's summertime. School's getting out. Everybody's done. We got to get the barbecues ready. It's time to go. Oh, man. Let's go. I had to pause it for a second. Can we get some round of applause in the chat? No wonder we have a half day today in the middle of the week. Wow. Friday Eve. So, wow. Praise the Lord. Here we go.
Does council want to see me?
Apparently, yes.
Okay. So should we send the jury out or should...
Probably, yes.
So jurors, so everybody can sit. So jurors, the Commonwealth rests. That means that the Commonwealth's case has been presented to you for your consideration. So I need to meet with the lawyers for a few minutes, so we're going to send you back out. I can tell you that it now appears that we're at least on schedule, if not a little ahead of schedule. So we'll send you back out for a short recess.
Oh, wow.
Right. Can council come to sidebar, please?
We got a sidebar, guys. Wow, I cannot believe this. Wow. The presentation, that's two sidebars, by the way. With the Commonwealth's case officially being presented, and they've laid out everything they believe that happened. How do you guys feel, just as a juror? Do you guys feel that the Commonwealth has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen Reed is guilty? I have no words, because they do have the burden of proof. They do have to show that Karen Reed is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I see some jealous long-term friends. I see inconsistent testimony. I see blue paint and dater. And a man who may have been jealous of another man because of who he was with. Nowhere in this case, to me, that has been presented by the Commonwealth have I seen beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen Reed was the one who killed John O'Keefe. Guys, I'm telling you, with this being their case, Karen Reed she's out of there. Karen Reed's gonna get acquitted. For our first trial watchers, for our retrial watchers, is this how the first case went? And now, of course, that the Commonwealth rested, I need to go back, and there's a lot we can review from the first case now when it comes to the Commonwealth's first case. I mean, we can, even if I just go to my YouTube channel, because we've got what? The medical examiner, Dr. Scorty Bello. We've had Dr. Wolf. So many professionals. We had, what was her name? The cell phone expert lady. I cannot remember her name for the life of me. We had Shannon Burgess, right? Who else do we have? Oh, God. We had Yuri. Y'all remember Yuri? Ugh. What was her name? What was the cell phone data lady's name? Someone's gonna tell me. I'm gonna find it though. Hold on. Her name, Jessica Hyde. We had Jessica Hyde. Y'all remember that testimony? We had the taillight glass collecting guy. We had Sarah Levinson. We had Ryan Nagel. We had Ryan Nagel's ex-girlfriend. Ugh. Y'all know who I forgot about? This one was crazy. We had the first responder, Katie McLaughlin. Y'all remember her? Who else did we have? I'm just going through. We had Jen McCabe. Throw that away. We had Carrie Roberts. Probably one of the better testimonies so far. Still a lot of questions left with Carrie Roberts. They didn't see anything. They didn't know anything. John wasn't there. All they know is they responded. Karen Reed was on top of him trying to warm him up while they were administering CPR. And she was hysterical. Ooh. We've got the first responders we heard from. We've got Peggy, who gave us literally nothing. I can't believe this is their case. To be honest. And that's it. I cannot believe this is a Commonwealth's case. This was weak, to say the least. Let me see what y'all are saying. Y'all are saying, yes, you guys are happy, man. Y'all are excited that the Commonwealth is finally rested. Fearless Journey said it. That was weak. This is one of the weakest cases. Listen, when we watched the ASAP Rocky trial, and shout out to my guy, Joe. I got to hit up Joe. We got to get him on here. Joe Tacopina, even during the ASAP Rocky trial, there were times I was like, Rocky, you might be in trouble, man. Because as much as I didn't like the prosecution, they made some good points when it came to his guilt as it pertained to the charges. Here, we're talking about manslaughter, guys. And we're at the point now to where there is no definitive beyond a reasonable doubt evidence that shows Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe. We got some glass over here. We got blood over here. We've got a dead body. What does this have to do with Karen Reed other than she was upset with him? And then that garbage video clip they played as the outro to this sham of a presentation. It's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. ClassE never swears, mostly because he dropped an F-bomb yesterday. Oh, what? Defamation. That says everything about this witness. I did not drop an F-bomb. What are y'all talking about? It's a family show. Kara says she has no words. She talks to them like Judge Bev talks to the jury like they're in preschool. Commonwealth thinks they dropped a bomb with that clip. She is absolutely not guilty. They proved nothing. No, not guilty, innocent. No, no, no. They didn't prove it. I don't think we would have made it without you and Amy. Oh, very painful. I wouldn't have made it without y'all. I'd be sitting here talking. It'd just be me and Amy over here talking. Let the hooker go. Let the hooker go. Hell to the nah. Why did they bring this case? Why did they retry this case? Wasting dollars and time. She's walking free, guaranteed. There's no way. No way she'll be found guilty. What evidence do they have that she hit John? There's none. A broken taillight and data that doesn't show us anything. First case was more exciting because of all the folks inside 34 Fairview that testified were left out this time around. We're going to get to them. Wait, did he just say that the trigger sequence didn't register a point of impact in either case? It doesn't. This dude can get the hell out of here and go home. It's all over. The acceleration is the only thing logged. Wow. What a waste. Jessica Hyde. Thank you. Amy's got my back. So what's the next trial? We got a lot going on. So don't worry. We're not done yet. The defense is going to be calling a lot of witnesses too. The Commonwealth is definitely a circus. Jessica Hyde. They were exposed by the defense so badly they didn't bring them back this time. What did Amy say? Amy said, did y'all peep this? Oh yeah, the lady, the court reporter passing out. Amy said, when you feel, madam, we feel you, madam court reporter. I think we all felt this while listening to this narcissistic a-hole. I needed prayer and many thank yous to God. Yeah, that court reporter, she was like, oh, what a day. 400 on contingency of a guilty verdict. Jeez, I never seen you smiling so hard. She was annoyed with him. We wouldn't be talking. What are you talking about, Amy? It's over, y'all. The defense has to go. The defense can rest right now. I still win. That's true. I mean, the defense could rest. There is no evidence that she hit him. None. I mean,
right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence. None.
You did drop the F-bomb. I remember because it was the first time I heard you say it. What? Y'all are lying. Nope. Show me the clip. Give me the timestamp. I did not curse. I said, if I did, I said fudge. All right, let's go ahead and see if this break is over. I don't know what Judge Bev's going to do today. Maybe she'll give the defense some time to prepare their case. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Shout out to Officer Token in here. What did I just do? Oh, shoot. That's not what I meant to do. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to figure out where we're going. No body, no crime. I'm not sure if it was ego or if it was partially worry about his company's reputation. There's all of that. But where is your data of all that? Didn't he say yesterday you didn't need it? You didn't use that info? Slim Life says she's back. What did I miss? The Commonwealth officially rested their case, which was absolute garbage. Yikes. What else are y'all saying? Oh no, I think I'm frozen. Hold on a second. What's going on here? I think I'm frozen. Can y'all still see me? We should be good. For some reason, my windows aren't working. Give me 1 second, guys. Amy said I did. No, I did not. I can't believe y'all are lying on me like this. Wow. I did not drop the F-bomb. Show me the clip. Somebody show me the clip. Yeah, I was crying. Sounded like you said fudge, but we will go with fudge. I like both. Hey, I see you. Amy said I did. Amy, you're supposed to be on my team. Don't let them. Don't do that. Also, let me see. Who do we have over here on the leaderboard? Shout out to the top 3 on the leaderboard. Amy at number 1, Julie at number 2. And then we've got, who is that? Who is that at number 3? I think it's Libby. Libby at number 3. Shout out to Libby. Y'all be lying on me. The clips from the documentary, I think, was bad, but the evidence wasn't there. I agree. Paua. I always mess it up. Says your mini breakdown when text stream data doesn't show collision was completely worth the day and a half of irritation. Paua. That's where it is. I got it now. It's in there. Paua. RD 419 says, ClassE, I'm sorry. If you're dropping F-bombs, I got to unfollow, unsubscribe, and report. Dang! Don't do that. I did not drop an F-bomb. They're lying on my name, man. Slim Life is in here with the 10 bomb and says, so the Commonwealth proved anything other than reasonable doubt. Thank you for your covers as always. Love y'all, my CEB family. No, they did not. They didn't prove anything. The only thing they proved is something happened to John, and there's a lot of people who were close to the incident that aren't telling the truth. We even saw bias from a freaking first responder, Katie McLaughlin, that didn't want to say what went down and didn't want to talk about her relationship with, was it Carrie, I believe? Man, come on, man. And Amy out here being a part of it. Why y'all lying on my name? No matter what he has to talk, even when he is free. That's a case of can't help myself. You did lower the volume of your face when you said it, probably out of shame. Y'all, man, hey, no way. Stop it. Every single witness. Why y'all lying on me? This is crazy. All right, what's Judge Bev going to say?
Court is in session. Please be seated.
All right, so jurors, we all, it happens several times a day, doesn't it?
No problem. They need to get that move for real.
So we don't want to waste anybody's time. I know we've spent a lot of time at sidebar, and we've had times that we've kept you in the deliberation room because we've been trying to sort through everything, trying to make this trial as efficient as possible, but also honoring and respecting all the hard work of the lawyers.
The hard work.
Preparing this trial. So
You see that,
sometimes
Rhonda?
I do understand that it's frustrating for you. But today we were able to spend some time this morning. I know we kept you in there almost a half an hour, and we've just spent some time now. So I can tell you that we are ahead of schedule right now. I still need to talk to the lawyers about something tomorrow morning. So we're going to send you home now.
Hey!
Have you come back tomorrow morning at 9:30, because today I know we kept you until 9:30, and it doesn't make any sense where I already know I need to talk to the lawyers tomorrow morning to have you here for a 9 o'clock start. So tomorrow will be a full day, and we'll have you here ready to start at 9:30. Okay, so those same cautions. Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into the case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about the case, please disregard it and let us know. And also, please continue to be careful with your social media use. So we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Rise to the jury.
All right, there it is. We are done for the day. Do y'all want to go through this voir dire? Because, I mean, we pretty much went through everything. Do y'all want to see more of Dr. Welsher and see what Alessi said? Because I think he got a little fired up. let me know, or we can save it, or we can not even cover it. Let's see what Judge Bev has to say here.
All right, so Ms. Little, if you can get me whatever you're going to get me within the next hour, so that would be great. And I'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 9
Thank you.
o'clock.
Okay, y'all do want to see it? All right, so what we're going to do is, Alessi talks a little bit this morning. So let's go back here. Short day today. And the good news is that we can watch this at 1.1 speed. All right, let's get into it. So this is the voir dire from yesterday to see what they were talking about with Dr. Welsher. By the way, did I miss any super chats? Shout out to y'all. I think, oh, Mr. Brown in here. Shout out to Mr. Brown with the 5 bomb. Says he's hype. We also had Kira gifting 5 memberships. I think I mentioned that one. Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Mr. Brown. And thank you, Slim Life in the building. Here we go. Let's see what went down yesterday afternoon.
Okay, Mr. Alessi, it's your voir dire.
If I have a moment, Your Honor, to switch.
Yeah, I can't, oh, man. Look, this is crazy.
Your Honor,
Yes.
can I have a look at my slides?
Yeah, can you do that while you're sitting here answering questions? Yes.
I'm going to start, Your Honor, with regard to true fall.
Okay. And we're on a very limited schedule here. Okay.
She said, hurry up. Y'all saying
Mr.
I
Wilker,
cursed. I
with
can't
Your Honor's
believe
permission,
y'all.
if we could pull up the January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint of Dr. Welcher in slide 36. You see that, Dr. Welcher? Do you recall that from your January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint?
I thought I had replaced the video on the left-hand side by the time I produced
Sir,
it.
I got to
don't
go through
recall
this
that.
quickly. That image is a drone image on the left, correct?
Oh, correct.
And you had that in your original report, but you removed it in subsequent reports, correct?
Correct.
Where did you get that drone image from?
It was in the file.
Wasn't it in the CARS report of Trooper Paul?
I believe it was.
So you took that drone image from the CARS report of Trooper Paul, correct?
Correct.
Let's, if we could, Mr. Woke, go to diagram 1. Do we have that electronically of Trooper Paul's report? Do you recognize that
Okay,
is
thank you,
diagram
Libby.
1 from Trooper Paul's report?
Yes.
So, and that's the diagram that you took that image and you put it in your January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint, correct?
I'm pulling up my version of PowerPoint. Yes, it's correct.
Okay, if we could take that down, I'm going to go to the next example. If we could go to Dr. Welcher.
I'm sorry, actually, can we go back to that?
Yes. With Your Honor, why do we?
Well,
I have limited. Go ahead.
so that particular diagram I did not use. If you notice, the diagram I used has different cars and doesn't have all the writing about the position of things on it.
I am going to now, Your Honor, have to take the time to go to Trooper Paul's report. We have the hard copy of Trooper Paul's.
Could you turn the lights on, please?
I just wonder. I wish I could hear from the jury.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going
Show
to.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes, Mr. Brennan. This is. May I approach and witness? Excuse me, Dr. Welcher. You see this first page? Do you recognize this as the cover page for the Trooper Paul report that I was referring to?
Something shows the signature.
Ooh, I got a question for y'all, and we're done for the day. So congratulations to team. Only 7% of y'all. Congratulations to team 0 to 4 for side buys. It looks like y'all are taking home the win today because we had right at 4, if I remember right. I need to ask y'all a question, and I'm gonna put the poll in the chat and see what y'all think about this. Which case was weaker? Or let me say it this way. Which DA, how should I say this? Which prosecutor's case was weaker? Y'all are gonna love this. Karen Reed, or YSL. Now, before I put the vote in the chat, I want you guys to tell me why you think which one was weaker than the other. That's gonna be tough. I'll be interested to see what y'all say. Here we go.
You want to look at the report, sir? I'm not so sure there is a signature on the report.
Signature block right here.
Yeah.
Trooper Paul, page 16.
Okay, I got that.
Trooper Paul. Shout out to him.
Now, what I want to do is to go to diagram 1, and if I could, Your Honor, republish what was just up. I'm showing you diagram 1, sir, and I'm asking you, is that the image from Trooper Paul's report
Kara says
that
they were
you
the
then
same.
used to
Wow.
put into your January 30th slide presentation?
No. See all the writing on here, the glass cup, all the dimensions here. Here's my January 30th one. None of that stuff's here. There's different. None of this stuff is here.
Isn't it the case that this is cropped more and there's a larger picture of the same image, or not?
See this tree?
Yes.
See these trees?
Yes.
See all these measurements by the trees? All
Yes.
these? That's right here.
Okay.
Those do not show up on my image.
Let me go to a different method then to do this. You have an image. Can we go, Mr. Wolf, to the January 30th presentation?
Slide 36.
Correct. Where did you get that image from that's in your PowerPoint presentation on the left?
I think it was from the file, a satellite image from the file.
What part of the file, sir?
I actually don't know at this time.
How close is the image on diagram
Then
1,
stop lying on me.
the drone image, to the image that you can't now recall where you got it from for your slide presentation? Are they similar?
So that one has a whole bunch of measurements and ID on it, but the underlying image is very similar. It's probably the same one.
Right. Yes. You're welcome. Do you know of any other place you could have, let's put the presentation back up on the slide
Miss
presentation.
Love.
Do you know of any other location other than Trooper Paul's report that you could have got that drone image from?
No, I'm not sure I got it from the report. I recall getting it from the file.
My question is, do you know of any other source other than Trooper Paul's report that you could have gotten that drone image from?
Nope.
So this image is not in that report.
It's not my
Yes, it is. You asked me anything but the report. That image is not in that report.
Did you get the drone image from any
I did not
file
drop the
from the
F-bomb.
Massachusetts State Police?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a lie. I'll deny it till the day I die.
Did Trooper Paul work on any drone images to your knowledge with respect to 34 Fairview?
I don't know.
But you would agree that the drone images are from the Massachusetts State Police file, correct?
Give me 1 second.
Sir, let me know you've had a fair opportunity to answer that question.
I know it's a tough question, right? Libby said, I said, oh, fuck. I didn't.
Yes, it
I
came
did
in a
not
file
curse.
called cars-trp.jpal.
Okay. So it came from, and that's the report of Trooper Paul, correct?
No, these are drone images that are not in the report.
No, I'm saying what you just read. Can you repeat it again, what you just read, where it came from?
I read you a folder
Yes.
that contains a bunch of things, including the report.
Understood.
That image is not in his report.
Can you read the file name again that you just read?
The folder name
Yes.
is cars-trp
No, I didn't. Slim Life.
period
You're lying on my
Okay.
name.
And did you get the drone image
Microdots? No,
from
I
that
didn't.
file folder?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now let's go on to the May 26, 2025 PowerPoint that you created. And I'd like to go to slides 25, 26, and 27. Have you discussed with anybody today at all the source of what is depicted up on this slide?
No.
Okay, so let's now go to where did you get the?
No, everybody's
you
gonna
see the,
vote yes,
the larger
Libby. I'm not
chart
putting
to
a
the
poll.
left there in the looks like mostly a rectangle. Do you see that, sir?
What slide are you on? What slide is that?
25, I
25,
believe.
okay.
Okay, and then if we could click to 26 because it looks like it's the same. If we can go to
Not doing it.
26
No poll.
and 27, looks like it's the same one. You tell me.
It's similar.
Similar, okay.
Yeah.
In 27,
Correct.
see the same or similar one there, okay.
These are all from Google Maps.
Well, my question is, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Microdots? Okay, off the phone.
Well, let me ask you this so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Do you have access, sir, to the CARS report of Trooper Paul on your computer?
Think so? You remember the name of it?
I don't. We'll do it with the hard copy. Mr. Brown, I'd like to show you.
Okay, I found them.
So, if I could approach, Your Honor?
Yep.
So you see what I'm pointing to right here, which is page 10 of Trooper Paul's CARS report. Do you see that?
I do. Is this the same report? It's dated 1/29/2022.
I believe so, sir. Let me just take a peek. This is, you can just compare this to the one I have in my hand. Take it and look for any identification that gives you.
They did, Elijah.
Right.
We're just
We
watching
got
the
same
board
one.
there. Ford there.
Okay.
I don't know how to say it.
Okay, so we have that report, and I now am referencing page 10 of that report, and I'm looking at the chart on page 10. Is that chart on page 10 the same or substantially the same as the chart
I'll
that
send
is
you the
up
link to
on your
Microdots.
slide presentation right now?
So it's not the same. I did not use this data at all, but we both use Google Maps.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'm over it, guys. I appreciate y'all. We're done. We're done. He's gone. It's not. No point in reliving the past. I can't do it. I can't do it. I tried. I get. Can I get an E for effort at least? An E for ClassE. Shout out to Slim Life in here. Did I read this one already? Oh well, we'll read it again. Slim Life is super dope. So the Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth prove anything other than reasonable doubt. Thank you for your coverage as always. Love y'all, my CEB family. Let me see what y'all said about YSL, because some of y'all had a lot to say in here. I'm not looking for where I cussed because I didn't cuss. Dang. Let me see what y'all said. So I asked you guys in the chat, which case was weaker? YSL or this Karen Reed case? Let me see. Where, hold on, I'm trying to find it. Both were freaking weak AF, says Libby. Kara Hampton even said the same, so I can't vote. Wow. Raunchy Dog says, I voted Karen Reed because she's really only charged with one thing. And there's no clear evidence she was at all involved. That is true. Young Thug was in there smoking and doing drugs, and he was guilty of something. It looks like the only thing Karen Reed is guilty of messing with a weed whacker. Am I right? That's a tough one, but I'm going with Karen Reed, says Slim Life. Okay. Karen was never a criminal. YSL did some ish in his lore. That's true. Okay. Nosy Rosie said, what's up? Just way too much reasonable doubt. I believe it. Dennis in here spreading lies. Says, yesterday you said fire truck without the IRETR. So he said I said UCF. How does that work? UCKF? What are you talking about, Dennis? Miss Love for the L says Taco Tuesday. Raunchy Dog says there was no or almost no evidence against Young Thug.
So what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
But there was some evidence against some for lesser charges. Both were a mess. I agree. Trooper Paul was the worst, but now I choose him over Judd the Judge. They are pretty close because I believe they are both corrupt. Fulton County is definitely, yeah, and I mean Fulton County DA. Shout out to Fulton County itself. Kenton is not much better. I think they said you dropped the L. Y'all, man, y'all stop with these lies. But YSL has the longest trial in history thing going for it being the worst. Libby said, but I didn't hear it. I heard the F-bomb, man. Y'all lie. And thank y'all for putting me onto microdots too. I'm definitely going to check it out. Someone this morning reminded us that Gallagher said they couldn't use the drone because of the FFA airport stuff that day. Trooper Paul got the drone stuff that Judd is using here. He is lying. So when he said it's not a part of the report, it's not a part of the report because he handed it to him. I dropped a link for y'all. No, I'm not looking for where I cuss because I didn't cuss. Y'all lie. Karen Reed is a joke. Yeah, we need to hear this allegedly. ClassE dropping the F-bomb. It never happened. Green Man's in here says YSL had more of a chain of custody, more circumstantial evidence, and witnesses lied and evaded less than the Bostonians. Alcohol was and is a major, I'm going to add that in there, factor. I agree. CPE in the building with the 5 bomb says yes. Here is E or A or whatever. ClassE didn't cuss. It's his channel. So thank you, CPE. Someone with some sense today. I did not cuss. No, cursed it. Thank you for the love. Kara Hampton in here with the 5 bomb says, go to your laughing clip. This is the best part of the trial. I love it. That alone made the day great on purpose. Ah, man. Listen, I need to be a consultant or something. I watched too many of these trials to not see where they're going with this. This is so good. Who is worse? Glanville or Bev? That's a great question. I have to say Glanville personally. I mean, he was recused. As a superior judge, as the chief judge, to get recused, it's not even close. Bev, she shows a little bit of bias here and there. I will say she's probably, for me, 60% biased. But for the most part, it's not unbearable. Glanville was it was unwatchable, unbearable. And there's a reason he got kicked up out of there. Bev, should she have been on this case again? I would have liked to have seen another judge, but I think she's doing a decent job. And considering that this case is just absolute garbage in the first place, I mean, what's she gonna do? I'll give her 60%. Glanville is way worse though. Glanville was recused. Yeah, he probably pissed. They got him into this, but he did get paid. It's true. And y'all said the first trial, her bias was worse. Bev's annoying, but Glanville, was at least entertaining. I think I like Glanville better. Do I like Glanville better as a person? I don't know. I think both of them seem cool as people. I've met Judge Glanville in person and he's just a regular person. So I don't know. That seems like she's fine. Mr. Tesla's in the building. What up, man? We just talking about good old Fulton County up in here. All right, I'm going to end the poll. And it looks like a good bit of you voted. So when it comes to which prosecutor's case was the weakest or was weaker is what I asked. It looks like 70. Is that 78 or 76? 76% of you said Karen Reed. Wow. 23% of you said YSL. And I agree because some of the charges in the RICO, these guys were guilty of. There's no denying it. So I would have to go with y'all on that one too. I think Karen Reed's case is super weak, and there is nothing in here that has me thinking, Karen, man, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Nope. This whole thing is BS. One of the worst I've seen. Definitely the weakest. Yes, I do like Glanville better as a person. I think so. Bev talks down to people like they're children. I think that's just her demeanor. You know, all judges have a different demeanor. I don't think she's rude or condescending about it. I just think she wants to be pleasant and clearly communicate. We're going to be here at 9:30. Yeah, she seems nice. It's okay to curse. I do it all the time. I'm just curious. No, it's not. We don't, this is a family show. This is a Christian show. All right. We're a follower of Christ over here. We don't curse. What we as troopers had to learn and understand is this. Everyone is okay with corruption, but the issue is what is the level of corruption that is acceptable. Interesting. I think that's a fine line. With me, I can't be okay with corruption. If the law says one thing and a person followed the law or they use the law to their advantage, I'm the type of person that I can't get mad at that. Like if you're upset with it, go change the law. Get the laws changed. Do what you have to do there. But when it comes to corruption, when it comes to you misusing the law, that's where it starts to get, I'm out on that one. So I think it depends on what your definition of corruption is. If your definition of corruption is someone in a powerful position using the law to their advantage, I don't know if I've seen it as corruption. But if you're saying that corruption is someone doing something illegal with the law, or someone who's in a position of power and doing something that goes against the law and getting away with it, then I'm out on that. Yeah, it's a tough and interesting conversation to have. I think it all depends. Every time you talk about Fulton County, I think about us getting robbed by Gorilla Grip. Oh man, I still want my money back. I don't want my money back. Just give me an extra vote next time so I can vote for Courtney Kramer a couple more times. Like, dang. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. And thank you for your service, CPE. I appreciate you. Said just an observation from being American and being deployed. No, CPE, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just giving my side and my opinion on it. But I can definitely see that. I don't think you're wrong, though. I think, I mean, let's be real. There's people that are corrupt and do things that they shouldn't be doing in the power, with the power and the positions they've been given all the time, even at, entry level. So I 1000% agree with you, CPE. I was just saying for me, I think I might look at it a little bit different, but you're 1000% right. You ain't cursed. I got your back. Thank you, Julie. Somebody, Amy and Julie got my back in here. Y'all lying on me on my own show. Well, it's our show. Holly in here says, when it's the job of law enforcement and courts to uphold the law, then corruption is unacceptable. Just my opinion. Holly, you are 1000% right. It is unacceptable. But one thing about the law that we cannot deny is it was created by men. And I don't mean men as in a male, which I mean, I guess it it probably was, but I mean men by like humans, and humans are not perfect. Humans are flawless, are flawed, as we've been able to see from these court proceedings alone, as we see hear in the news every single day. So the law is not going to be perfect. And if the law allows you to do certain things, I could see how it could appear as corruption, but yeah, humans, thank you. It's a tough conversation, because if these are the rules we're going to follow, but then you want to add some morality to those rules, it's a really tough balance. You have to balance humanity with an actual rule book. It's tough. Some getting a higher education makes one very stupid. That's two. Yeah. ATL in Boston, I think in Boston are different. Yeah, I think Boston is moving on a whole different level than Atlanta. And the police department's been around a lot longer too. Laws were created by men in wigs. Don't forget history. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I guess it could go man and men in the first place. All right, y'all. We about to start getting into some deeper conversations now. ClassE and Amy says Ducky Dexter got to run. We'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate you, Ducky. We got a full day tomorrow, so y'all make sure you're ready for it. Amy also says it happens in every state. Just so happens because of these public trials, we're hearing about it more. Yeah, and I think it's always a good incentive for everyone to make sure that you're involved in what's going on in your county, what's going on in your state, what's going on at a local level. Knowing who your representatives are, knowing who is making certain decisions within your community. And that's one of the biggest reasons I like covering these things, especially when we were covering the YSL trial and it was all local. I had already been involved in a lot of the things that go on here in the community in Fulton County, serving on the jury, being active in certain politics and certain circles, and you just see and understand so much about how things work. And I want to continue to have these conversations as a reminder to everyone to get active, get involved, and maybe we can avoid and limit some of the corruption that takes place. Either way, y'all have an amazing rest of your day. Let me see, who do we have on the community leaderboard? We've got Amy at the #1 spot. You know, we got my guy Dennis in there at the #2 spot. And then at the #3 spot, Tatum is in the building. I need to copy and save this for today's live stream so we know. And I think I'm going to post this somewhere too. So let me see if there's a way I can get this. Hold on a second. I'm going to screenshot this. There we go. Shout out to the top 3 on today's community leaderboard. I appreciate y'all. Big shout out. Big shout out to everyone who supported today. Les Cleaver, my guy, Kara Hampton, CPE, Slim Life, New Jersey. Of course, my awesome, amazing Amy. We had Curious Coco, New York was in here as well. Thank y'all so much for the love. What does Amy say? He says, thank God for Jesus because he paid already for ClassE potty mouth. Oh, man. See, couldn't help herself. Y'all have an amazing afternoon. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all tomorrow. If you haven't yet, like the video on your way out, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live. And as always, y'all know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone.